notices that receive minimal traffic but not advertised to readily available social media outlets until the past 24 hours is of great concern. This doesn't reflect a board that wants to be transparent amongst its constituents. Allow me to be the first to remind you that each of you are elected by voters, and continuing to ignore us is noted. As a parent, my children struggled in school last year having to wear a mask for the full 187 days. My youngest daughter is in the dual language program, and her Spanish vocabulary did not grow in first grade because she could not see her teacher's mouths, which is a visual need for learning to make sounds. The position of our lips, teeth, and tongue, and how our brains register sounds, especially when learning a new language. This year, not being masked, her Spanish vocabulary and pronunciation has improved, but the deficit she experienced last year is present. As a teacher, I'd like to take a moment to discuss the social implications that masks hold, especially when trying to mandate them halfway through the year. At the beginning of the year, there were multiple reports of positive COVID cases, as expected when people who have been traveling all summer come together in classrooms. We experienced it at the district in which I teach as well, so the experience of Royal ISD is not unique. Then after the beginning of September, cases dropped so rapidly that we went weeks without a single notification, and so much so that the district elected to open the campuses back up and allow parents to eat with their kids at lunch. Even as we approach the Christmas holidays after being off for Thanksgiving, where traveling occurred again, there were minimal positive cases reported. Since last year, there has been a vaccine available for those who wish to receive it, and at no point in time has it not been allowed to wear a mask. There are several teachers and students who have elected to continue wearing one this year, despite the numerous reports that show masks do not prevent the spread of COVID-19 or SARS viruses, also known as the common cold. For those families that wish to continue wearing a mask, it has always been allowed. So please answer why after 18 weeks of successful schooling are we trying to vote on a mask mandate now? We just came off of a very heated election season where a bond failed, a bond that was grossly needed for improvements in this district. Instead of wasting time on polarizing issues like masks, which are still allowed for anyone who chooses to wear one, why don't we spend time reaching out and developing relationships with our community and focus on true needs, like getting the next bond proposal to pass? Especially since many of you here today attended the Berkshire EDC Christmas party with no mask on, pictures of which have been shared across social media. At the board meeting prior to the start of school in August, one of you posted on your social media pages that the meeting was to be held at 7 p.m. and invited people to join by Zoom. I signed to speak up by Zoom only to find out it was false information that you shared. The meeting started at 5 p.m. and there was no Zoom link. I sent my comments to every board member here. The offender offered an apology for sharing false information, but never went back and changed it on your social media page. And then when the bond election came around, you shared false information about voting dates. The same false voting date was also shared by multiple friends of yours, encouraging the voters to vote against the bond. The coincidental illegalities are staggering here. The only other member to reach out to me was our newly appointed member. You asked if I had been contacted by anyone. I replied and said I had not, and that was the last that I heard from anyone else on this board of Royal ISD. Lastly, the COVID-19 virus is a SARS virus, which is the family of the common cold. People have died for centuries from the common cold, intestinal upset, diarrhea, pneumonia, flu, etc. My own mother battled cancer for 5 years and was hospitalized more than 10 times in the last 2 years of her life because a common sinus infection turned almost deadly because of her weakened immune system. No one is saying that this virus hasn't been real, that people have not become deathly ill and have died. What we're saying is to stop losing our ever-loving minds over it. Stop dividing people socially through mask mandates and vaccine mandates. In 2020, the #1 cause of death remained cardiac disease, 659,000 deaths in 1 year. And yet our school lunches are still processed foods high in carbohydrates and lack fresh fruits and vegetables and variety. In 2021, over 10,000 people have died from drunk driving incidences, and yet teachers fight substance abuse in the classrooms on a daily basis, with kids bringing drugs and vapes into school, and the lack of discipline for those students that follow, because the perception is that you're more concerned about keeping butts in chairs for federal funding dollars for attendance. To date, 790 people ranging in age from 0 to 18 have died from COVID-19. As of February 18, 2020, 2,807 people of the same age range died from e-cigarette damage to their lungs. People over centuries have responded to different viruses in multiple ways depending upon underlying issues of the overall health, immune system responses. One of the factors that assist in the ability of someone to heal from a disease has been their lifestyle level of activity, nutritional quality of food they consume on a regular basis and during a time of illness. If you really want to look at overturning a mandate that will do some actual good, let's focus on getting rid of Michelle Obama's school nutrition program and promote school gardens throughout our STEM and CTE programs, which require kids to work in those gardens as a form of discipline and then use that food to feed our kids wholesome, nutritious things. Teach them about vitamins and minerals and how a diet free of fat means that you can't absorb fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. Teach them about essential amino acids, which are building blocks of proteins found in both plant-based and animal-based tissues. After all, thanks to us CTE teachers, you receive weighted funding for our classes. Teach them about putting their phones away or not bringing them to school at all, and the importance of building community standards through kindness and respect. Impose discipline actions that are synonymous with the real world for those kids and their families who simply refuse to follow those standards. These are the types of actions public is waiting to see
Keep going.
passing a mass meeting now when the number of royal
Let's
ISD
please
folks
follow
support
the
the need a
rules.
response plan
Ma'am,
already been placed
with
with
all due
detrimental.
respect, let's follow
Thank
the
you.
rules. You're welcome, but let's follow the rules.